Good morning, my friends. I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're going to be learning chapter 4 in the laws of Tefillin. And we're going to be learning exactly how we put on Tefillin. So the Rambam begins off by telling us that when a person puts on Tefillin, we put them on our arm, on our hand, on our arm, and our head. So he begins off by explaining where do we put on the head Tefillin. And he says that it is on our skull, at the end of our hair, so before the end of our hairline, so at the hairline, that's where the end of the tefillin should come. And it goes all the way back to the place of where a baby's brain pulsates. I believe that's how you pronounce that word. And so it's just literally right over here, and it's in between our eyes, so it's straight in line with our eyes, up all the way on our head. On our hand tefillin, we put it on our muscle. So that means between our shoulder and our elbow, we put it on our lower part, on our actual muscle. That's the place where to put it. And so that when you actually pull your arm down, it's going to be near your heart. As it says in the words, that these words should be upon your heart. When a person puts on tefillin on their actual hand, that is not the place to put on tefillin. They haven't performed the mitzvah at all, but rather it has to be on their arm. And in general, a person will put on the hand tefillin on their left hand because we put it onto our weaker hand. If a person is left-handed, then they will put it on their right hand because that's their weaker hand. And this we all have learned exactly how to do it and where to put on the tefillin, all passed down orally from Moses from Mount Sinai. These two mitzvot of the hand tefillin and the head tefillin are actually two separate mitzvot, and they're not actually dependent on one another. Meaning that if a person only has or is only able to put on the hand tefillin, that's totally fine. If a person is only able to put on the head tefillin, it's also fine. So therefore, each one essentially has a blessing for itself. But when we put them both on, so one blessing will be able to go for both of them, for the hand tefillin and for the head tefillin as well. So when we put on the tefillin, we start off by putting the hand tefillin on our arm. So we put it onto our arm because we want it to be right close to when we actually bind the tefillin on our arm. So we put it on into the place, we make the blessing, and then we wrap it. And then we wrap it around 7 times down our arm. And then we put on the head tefillin, and the blessing that we had for the hand tefillin, we have in mind also that it goes for the head tefillin, and it's all going to be included in that one blessing. And anytime that a person puts on tefillin, even if he puts them on in the morning, then he wants to put them on in the afternoon again for whatever reason, we make another blessing again. And when we take off our tefillin, so we first take off our head tefillin, and then we take off our hand tefillin, because the head tefillin actually have a greater holiness than the hand tefillin. So therefore, we never want to only have the head tefillin on our body on its own. So we begin by putting on the hand, then we put on the head, then we take off the head, and then we take off the hand. So the same thing. And therefore, also when we put them away, when we put our tefillin into their little bag or into a box, however a person is keeping their tefillin, they should put it in a way that first they put in the head and then they put in the hand tefillin, so that you're able to pull out the hand tefillin first, and you're not going to pass over the mitzvah of the head tefillin. In other words, if the head tefillin will be first, and you're going to bypass it to get to the hand tefillin, you will be missing out on the mitzvah of putting on the head tefillin, which we don't want to pass over a mitzvah on an opportunity. But because we want to first put on the hand tefillin, so therefore we will keep it up front, and then only afterwards come to reach for the head tefillin. And this bag that we use, or this box, however a person will keep their tefillin, is a holy box, because it's being used for for the tefillin. So therefore, we shouldn't use it for other things. Unless it was just as a one-time person put them in to transport them somewhere, put them into a bag, which is not specifically for the tefillin. If it's just as a one-off thing, so then it will be okay. What is the time when a person is supposed to put on tefillin? So the Rambam tells us that it says in the verse, the words in the verse, it says that you should observe this mitzvah from day to day, which is, that means we put on tefillin every day, but it also means the day we put on tefillin during the day. And therefore we put them on every day in the morning or during the day if a person is not able to do that in the morning, except for Shabbat and for holidays. Because it says in the verse in regards to tefillin that it is a sign between us and God, and also Shabbat and the holidays are also called a sign. So because of it, when it's Shabbat, we don't need to have the sign of the tefillin, so therefore we don't put them on during Shabbat or holidays. We wear them we can put on tefillin from the morning, from when the sun rises, from when you were able to. Actually, the term is that when you're able to recognize your friend, when they're standing about 6 feet away from you, if you're social distance and you can recognize who the person is standing 6 feet away from you, that means it's light enough outside and now you're able to put on tefillin. And we wear them all the way till sunset. From sunset and on, we just shouldn't put on tefillin. Unless a person is actually wearing them anyways, and it's in the late afternoon and he's wearing his tefillin, and then sunset comes, he doesn't actually have to take them off because it's sunset, but you wouldn't put them on initially. And we do not put on tefillin at night, as we said before, that it's specifically a mitzvah for the day, as it says in the verse, from day to day. Now, how about if a person is walking on the street and it's just before Shabbat, it's late Friday afternoon, and now he's holding his tefillin, and what do we do now? We're not allowed to carry on Shabbat, but I don't want to leave out the tefillin on the road because someone might steal them or might desecrate them. So therefore, what a person is able to do is to put on the tefillin, wear them, because they're like you're wearing them, so you're allowed to wear clothes on Shabbat and walk with them on the street. So similarly, we're allowed to put on the tefillin and then walk into town with them until we come home and then put them away over there. It's an interesting scenario when a person, it's on Shabbat, where we don't usually wear tefillin on Shabbat, but in such a case, in order to safekeep the tefillin, a person will be able to do that. In general, anyone who is not obligated from reciting the Shema is also not obligated from putting on tefillin. So therefore, a child, for instance, is not obligated to say the Shema, is not obligated to put on tefillin. Unless a child is becoming older and now we are able to see that he's, more mature, and we want to educate him in the mitzvah of tefillin before their bar mitzvah. We want to get them into practice, so then they can put them on a little bit before to be able to learn how to do it. Now, tefillin in general we need to have a clean body when we put on tefillin, because there are the names of God are mentioned 21 times in the tefillin, which is a lot of times. And therefore, we always, when we put on the tefillin, because we're wearing the name of God on us, we have to make sure that we are in a proper state. So first of all, our physical body has to be clean. So in other words, you have to go to the bathroom, we do it before, and so on and so forth. Number 2, also, our mind state also has to be proper, and we have to be in a proper state of mind to put on tefillin. We shouldn't think about other things when we are wearing tefillin. And therefore, a person should always make sure that he realizes the fact that right now he's wearing tefillin. Just like the Kohen Gadol, the high priest in the temple, that he had a special plaque that had the name of God written on it, and he would wear it on his forehead, and it said that he always had to think about the fact that he was wearing this, and he should never, divert his attention from it. And over there, they only had the name of God once. In the tefillin, as we said, we have it 21 times. So it's a very, very special thing. And therefore, a person should never pass a gas when they're wearing tefillin, because it's such a holy thing. And therefore, we have to make sure that our body is clean. And therefore, we shouldn't sleep with our tefillin. A person shouldn't fall asleep while wearing tefillin. But rather, you should take it out, and then you should take off the tefillin, wrap them up in something, and then, hold them carefully and go to sleep. And so too also, we don't eat, we don't sit down to dinner while wearing tefillin. It's not nice, it's not honorable for the tefillin. Unless it's just something very small, if it's just a little l'chaim after the prayer or something, a little cracker, then there would be leniency to be able to do that. But in general, we do not eat while wearing tefillin. What about if a person had to go to the bathroom when they wear tefillin? So, obviously, because tefillin are very holy, so therefore we take them off first, and only then do we go into the bathroom, and then we can put them on afterwards. Now, the problem is, what if a person is in a public space and he's scared that someone's going to steal the tefillin? So therefore, what a person should do is that they should wrap up their tefillin into their case and into their bag, and then put them into another bag, which is not specifically for the tefillin, just like a regular bag or a box, which would then put them into their own special space, and then is able to actually carry them in with him to the bathroom. So obviously, if a person is able to take them elsewhere to a place which is and this is all in regards to a bathroom which is just on the way. It's like it's a non-permanent bathroom. But if we're talking about an actual permanent bathroom, then a person should not take the tefillin with them into the actual bathroom. They should find someone to hold it for them, or so on. And because a person should never take tefillin into a bathroom. If he forgot, so then he should, quickly finish and take them off. It's dangerous to stop. If a person has started going to the bathroom, it's dangerous to just stop that, but rather they should quickly finish the bare necessity, and then from there go out of the bathroom, take them off, and then continue. If a person walked into a bathhouse, and in the bathhouse there are various parts of the bathhouse. So in the first room, where it's just the entry room, where there's just an entry lounge, so then it's okay. Everyone's clothed over there, everything is fine. A person is allowed to put on tefillin, is allowed to take them off, and so on. If a person goes into the changing room, where there are certain, it's the place where there are sometimes people who are not clothed, but right now there is actually no one there. So it's not that there's actually a naked body in front of him, but rather it's just a place where there is usually people that are non-clothed. So then he doesn't actually have to take them off, but he should not put them on over there. But to go into the actual room, the shower room, and so on, that's not decent for the tefillin to be in such a room. So therefore, a person should not go into such a room, and if he does, take them off. A person should not go into a cemetery while wearing tefillin, or come in close contact to a dead body. And in general, a person should always make sure that they are clothed. They should be properly dressed while wearing tefillin. And because of the holiness of the tefillin, a person should not, if he's wearing the head tefillin, should not, carry a big box on his head while wearing the tefillin. That's not very nice. But unless it's, a hat or something like that, a person wants to wear their hat, where their tefillin is, that's okay. And so too also, because of the holiness of the tefillin, a person should not have any sexual relations in the same proximity as where the tefillin are. So if a person is keeping their tefillin in their bedroom, so then they should make sure that they are actually in two cases, as we said before, that if you have the tefillin in one case, which is the case of the tefillin, and then you have another special, in a closet or another box, which is actually not specific for the tefillin, because we don't want it to be something which is specific for the tefillin, because if it's specific for tefillin, then it doesn't help to cover over it, because it's part of the parcel of the tefillin. So we put it into another closet or into another box, which would be away from us, we wouldn't recognize that there are tefillin over there. They're put away, and then it's okay. And the Rambam finishes off this chapter by saying that The holiness of the tefillin are such a great holiness that at the time when a person is wearing the tefillin, so then a person is more humble and he's God-fearing, and they're not drawn to frivolous behavior or empty speech, but rather a person directs his heart and to the words of truth and justice. And therefore, a person should try to wear the tefillin as much as they can. And so much so that we find that it says in regards to some of the great rabbis that they would wear tefillin the entire day. So of course, obviously they were on the level that they were able to concentrate properly about the fact that they were wearing tefillin the whole day. We are not necessarily able to think and be the entire day able to realize and focus on the fact that we're wearing tefillin. So therefore, we should just wear, for the main part of when we recite the tefillin, it's most important during the time of prayer. And our sages have said that when a person recites Shema, he should make sure that he's wearing tefillin when he recites the Shema, because if not, then essentially he's giving a false testimony, because in the Shema it says you should say these words and you should put on tefillin. And if a person is not wearing tefillin, so then he's almost as if he's giving a false testimony about himself. And the person who doesn't put on tefillin is actually transgressing on 8 mitzvot, on 8 commandments, because it says in the Torah the mitzvah of tefillin 4 times, and each one is for the hand and for the head. So that's 8 commandments in total. And a person who puts on tefillin, the Rambam says that our prophets have said that they will have a long life, as it says that in regards to those who put on tefillin, that God is upon them and they shall live. So that is a very special, the mitzvah of tefillin is an extremely special mitzvah, which all men over the age of 13 are commanded to do, to put on tefillin every day, recite the Shema, pray with the tefillin, and that's a very, very special thing. So that's the chapter for today. If you have a pair of tefillin, definitely take them out, put them on, say the Shema. It takes just a few minutes, and it's a very, very special thing. All right, all the best. We will see you tomorrow.